Welcome back to the Lions Den Sports Podcast, Episode 3. I'm Chase Gispert.
Joined with Troy Allen.
And man, we're ready to keep it rolling with these weekly uploads. So, first things first, let's talk a little bit about the Lions, Southeastern. Fell to 0-3. I mean, tough opponent in FCS. One of the best programs in the FCS the past several years, Eastern Washington. Play them in Washington. I mean, the travel alone was hard enough. Lost them 40-29. Did have a 26 lead.
Yeah.
And with 5 minutes to play, gave up a drive. They went ahead, 33 to 29. 33-29. And then Zach threw a pick six. 0-3, but the schedule's brutal. I think that this team's a lot better than 0-3. We're picked to win the conference for a reason, but it starts this week. It's kind of must-win territory now, because of the 0-3 start. But should handle HCU. Don't want to overlook them though. They have a first-year head coach, brought in a top 10 FCS recruiting class actually. So also their quarterback used to be at Southeastern for like a summer, and then he transferred to ULM. Now he's at HCU. They had not All-American. One of them was an All-American, but 3 first-team All-South and preseason selections at each level of the defense. They had a defensive lineman, linebacker, and a corner. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. Every game in the Southland's difficult, and HCU hasn't been great in the past few years, but I think they'll be much improved to what they usually are. I think Southeastern has never lost to them.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact, actually. I think the record's 7-0. It's either 6-0 or 7-0. But hopefully they don't lose them for the first time. That would be kind of disastrous, to be honest.
Exactly.
It's a must-win. But what did you think, Drew? I'm kind of hogging here going on my rant.
You good,
for Southeastern. What'd you think of the game?
Yeah, so basically last episode, before we played Eastern Washington, I said we need to play with a little more desperation since we were 0-2. Well, now we're 0-3. So this is definitely a must-win. Definitely got to play with that desperation. This is a very important game. First home game of the year, so that's always fun.
Right.
But yeah, definitely important game. HCU, they did win their first game of the season. They blew out. It was 66-0. I believe that was their home opener too. I think. They did drop their last 2 games, but still they are ahead of us technically. In the standings, so we definitely gotta really lock in and hone in this week, or it could get real ugly. Considering we do play Tarleton State, but then we travel up to UIW.
Yeah, that's the marquee game of the year for conference play.
So we gotta win these next 2 games at home to get some momentum going, get the guys going. Because if we go into UIW like 1-4 or God forbid 0-5, this season is gonna get real ugly with back-to-back games against UIW.
I would agree. I think these are 2 must-wins. Also, both on paper we should beat both teams. Obviously, 1 week at a time. I got to beat HCU on Saturday, but Tarleton State has actually improved too. Yeah. I think they beat McNeese. I want to say a couple weeks ago. I don't know. It wasn't last week. It was either week 1 or week 2, but they did beat McNeese and Lake Charles. Now, I don't know. I don't think McNeese is that great this year, but still, it's a Southland Conference rival in-state team.
Those games are always close.
So, not going to be easy for sure, but I agree. It's going to be must-win these next 2 weeks. But if y'all want to watch, it's on ESPN+, but most importantly, come out and support home opener, like Troy said, big deal at 6 p.m. It's a green out, so wear your green.
If you can't come, you can watch it on an ESPN Plus and stuff like that. So definitely go come out and show your support for the green and gold and this. And there's nothing. And they always say that the crowd is a 12th man, so come help and be the 12th man for the teams. For Southeast.
And like we said, they really need this win coming up, so loud and proud Lions fans.
Exactly.
I'm trying to look. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the breakdown. I don't know. To me, since we played 2 FBS teams and then Eastern Washington's comparable, but they're a really elite FCS program on the road. I don't know if the sample size is big enough yet between the two quarterbacks, but did you want to kind of discuss maybe if you felt one of them should get more snaps than the other, or?
Oh yeah. Well, both guys have been pretty solid so far. Nothing too crazy. It's only been 3 games. Like we said, 3 games. Been a tough schedule. Going for like the first home game, maybe you go to Eli to start this week. This is he did play all of last year.
Right.
So he's not only is this is like obviously familiar territory to him, but like he's played in high state games last year. He played well
the
against
UIW game.
Yeah, exactly.
First time getting significant action.
Exactly, and throws a game-winning touchdown to C.J. Turner. I know he, if I remember correctly, he also played versus Colorado. Or no, not Colorado. Idaho. There we go.
Yeah, the playoffs.
Yeah. Idaho.
First round.
My bad. Yeah. So so he's played at high state games, and I would consider this a high state game. So I would look to start Eli heading into week 4, just given the circumstances of us being 03s of the year.
I would agree. Of course, you're going to see both quarterbacks. That's offensive coordinator Greg Stevens' whole MO. I mean, it's worked wonders really since he's been here. Southeastern's had prolific offense since we've been here for sure, going back to Cole Kelly a couple years ago. But Clement's obviously more mobile. He's the runner. He can also throw. Eli's more of a pocket passer. To be honest, I don't want to pick favorites this early, but I would lean to Eli too. He knows the offense better. Obviously, Clement coming from Northwestern State, first-year transfer. It's going to be a little bit of a transition. You're kind of seeing that. He's got 2 picks, costly 1 pick six. Maybe kind of, forcing the ball, trying to get a potentially game-winning drive there at the end. But I'd like to see Eli. Like you said, I mean, he's got a track record here and in the offense. And to me, he takes better care of the football and is a better decision maker. Now, it's only 3 games so far. I think Clement is very talented as well, and you got to utilize his legs. But definitely got to watch the turnovers. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, you could definitely expect both to play come Saturday.
Yeah, and what do you think of Dixon so far? I know week 1 he led us in both receiving and rushing yards, and right now he's leading the Lions in rushing yards, and he has a touchdown on the year. So I think he's been pretty productive, pretty solid back for us. This is the first 3 games of the season, and I can't wait to see what he does with that home crowd behind him as well. Offensive line.
No, definitely. He's been a beast so far this year, and we've needed him because Rodeo Graham was banged up last week. I believe he is supposed to play this week. Mm-hmm. So, of course, that would be huge to have that 2-headed monster in the backfield. Yeah, but Harlan's been really good for the Lions, and I look for that to continue Saturday. Also, shout out, I think we did last week, but Ian Goodley's been balling, man. 36 tackles in 3 games. I mean, if my math's, that's 12 tackles a game. I looked at it. Somehow someone had maybe 1 more than him, but it was second in the South. I mean, he's got to be up there, tops in the FCS. He's only a sophomore, first-year starting. He played some last year and flashed at times, but really stepping up. Also, Austin Dunlap. He's made all Southland. I know last year, maybe even the year before too, but he won Special Teams Southland Conference Player of the Week last week against Eastern Washington, so shout him out. But yeah, man, line up, go support Loud and Proud, 6 p.m. Strawberry Stadium this Saturday. If you can't make it for some reason, like Troy said, ESPN Plus, you can view it on there. But I think that does it for our SLU coverage.
Yes,
we're going to roll in. Stick with college football. I like this topic you came up with, Troy. The Colorado State game. Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders been the talk of college football, FBS, rightfully so. Man, I stayed up and watched that. That was a crazy game.
Great game.
I can't help but pull for the Buffaloes, man. I'm joining the movement. I've always liked Deion, but now that he's just a cool guy, man.
What like I saw a post on social media that said there's never been a time in Deion's career where he wasn't a star.
Yeah.
So obviously, an all-time
cinema.
great corner, Hall of Fame football player, and then it seems like once he got inducted from there, he had like a short stint like TV and stuff like that, and now he's coaching. Obviously, he was coaching HBU.
JSU.
Yeah.
State,
He was coaching over at Jackson State, which is at HBCU. Did great things for that program. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he led them to their first ever title.
Yeah, they won the SWAC. He was there 3 years. They won the SWAC his last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And Shadur obviously played great over there for them. And now this year they're off to a 3-0 start. Had that ridiculous game against TCU to start off the year. So Dion is doing great things. And obviously, of course, shout out to Shadur Sanders. He's been phenomenal.
What's he doing with his eyes?
With
his watch.
Yeah, exactly. He's been crazy, man. He's been crazy.
No, yeah, he's on a lot of scouts draft boards now. I mean, he's played his way into the Heisman conversation. Exactly. Also, we have here was the hit on Travis Hunter Dirty. Now, Travis himself and Dion, I thought, took the kind of the bigger man approach and just said, it's football. They didn't really get on the guy too much. They said it wasn't a dirty hit. To be honest, I do think it was a dirty hit. I think they just want to move on. And also, the kid I say kid, we're his age, but the dude for Colorado State got death threats. And his family received death threats. So I think that's why Dion's being professional and Travis and just trying to diffuse the situation. But I do think it was a dirty hit. I think he should have been ejected from the game. They threw a 15-yard unsportsmanlike, but I think the rule you get like 2 warnings. But to me, on certain situations where it's like deliberate and dirty, I think you're out.
Same
like,
here.
You don't get a second chance.
Yeah, especially given the context of the game. The head coach was talking trash.
Right.
And then before the game, they got into like a mini fight, the two teams. And so, obviously, to me, it looked like he wanted to, purposely take him out the game. Because obviously, Shadur's the best player, but like Travis, he's not only a receiver, but he plays corner too. And he's great at both. And so if you take him out, you're arguably taking out like the most vital player for that squad. Right. So given like the context of the entire game, I do think it was deliberate. I do think he should have been ejected. And obviously, this is like a bigger issue as a whole. Like the targeting rule in college football is just
very inconsistent.
Exactly, very inconsistent. The refs sometimes call it when it's not targeting. And then stuff happens like last Saturday where it's clearly targeting and they don't call it at all. But then that same game, they called targeting on a hit on Shadur, which in my opinion, I think that was a textbook tackle. He wrapped him up, took him to the ground. No real injury was suffered. So to me, that was like a textbook tackle, but they called target on that, but not on the hit for Travis. Right. So just very inconsistent.
I will say, are you talking about the sack in overtime?
I think so. I think
okay.
So, yeah.
I don't. That one, I get how they call that because he landed on him with his full body weight. He could have peeled off.
That's true.
It definitely wasn't nearly as malicious though as the other one on Travis. But yeah, that seemed deliberate. I don't mind trash talk. That's all part of the game. Big rivalry game. College game day was there. Mm-hmm. I get it. Colorado's the state school. They're getting all the hype. Colorado State had a little chip on their shoulder, but to me, that crosses the line when it looked like deliberately took out arguably their best player besides their quarterback.
Exactly.
He has a liver laceration. I think I read he was going to be out at least a few weeks. That's
I heard 4 games, which means he's going to miss the
USC right. It's not just exactly. They play at Oregon, and then they get to host USC, reigning Heisman winner Caleb Williams, and they're not going to have arguably their best player. So that's tough. But moving on, going to NFL now. Moved our way from FCS, FBS, now to NFL.
Yes, sir.
The pros. So we got the Rams, Puka Nacua. I picked him up in fantasy, man. 20. I mean, he has been just out of left field. Cooper Kupp, his injury preseason has kind of opened the door for this. But this man, as a rookie, I believe he's a 5th-round pick out of BYU. I hadn't even heard of him until week 1, but he has 25 catches, 266 yards in 2 games. And that is at 10.8 yards per reception. Yeah. I mean, he's basically morphed into Cooper Kupp as a 5th-round rookie.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's been the story of the league probably so far through 2 weeks. I mean, he's been incredible.
Yeah, he has. He really and the thing about Puka Nacua is like you said, he really came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like no one expected this from him. As soon as Cooper Cup went down with injury, people thought the Rams were cooked. But not only are there, yeah, me too. But like not only are the Rams more competitive than I thought they would be, but like he's a breakout star. I don't know if his production will continue whenever Cup gets back.
Right.
Like for right now, he's also an amazing start. Maybe this is like a hidden gem type thing. We all know certain teams are just good at fighting hidden talent in like the later rounds, and then they blossom into stars.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that might be the case for Nacua, especially in fantasy. Man, he's been great in fantasy. He's definitely
he's been elite. I picked him up and I was too afraid to start him. I was like, maybe week 1 was a fluke. Now I'm playing him in my flex. Please do not have a dud. But I think you can start him with confidence. I saw he's like ranked 8th on ESPN receiver start for the week.
It's crazy.
So definitely. Trying to look. Our next thing was most surprising win-loss. Honestly, there wasn't really like a monumental upset last week. Maybe you could say, now you picked the Commanders. I would say I was a little surprised. I thought the Broncos would bounce back at home. Would be my. Oh yeah, they threw a hail for y'all. Those of you that didn't see it, they're down by 7. Throw a Hail Mary from midfield last play of the game, like gets tipped twice. They catch it and then they go for 2. Or no, for the tie, they're down by 8. Yeah, they're down by 8. So they had to go for 2 to force overtime, and they didn't get it. But that was crazy. But I thought it was too little too late for Russell Wilson. But, man, it's just like, even with Sean Payton, now I know it's through 2 weeks, but it just doesn't seem to be working between Russ and the Broncos. That was my surprise, I'd say. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it was definitely that like Los Angeles-Tennessee game. I thought the Chargers were for sure going to win that game. After week 1, Tannehill had 0 touchdowns. Threw 3 picks. He had like a 47 completion percentage. He was just awful week 1. So I really thought LA was going to come in, especially since Brendan Staley's supposed to be like this defensive mastermind type guy. So I thought they were going to walk into Tennessee, really control the game, and they were up for like a good portion of the game, and Tennessee came back on them. So that was my most surprising loss of the week. And heading into our next topic, best and or worst performance by an individual this week. To me, I might have. You could really go one of 2 ways. You could pick Daniel Jones. He had a great game, especially in the second half.
Right.
I saw a graphic by Greg Jennings on First Things First. I think he said Daniel Jones is the only player to throw for 250 plus in like this or something like that, like the second half of a ball game. You could also go Sam Howell. Sam Howell overcame a 21-3 deficit. So looking at all the performances, I might go with Sam Howell here. Just a very clean game. So yeah, I'll probably go with that. Most surprising.
I would agree with that. To pick up for most disappointing, I think for me it's a no-brainer. Justin Fields. A lot of people were expecting him to take that next step with the Bears. They went and got DJ Moore. He finally had a legit number 1 wide receiver, and it's been near disaster through 2 weeks. I was looking right here. His QBR was 22.4 last week and 22.1 in week 1. He's thrown 3 interceptions, only 2 passing touchdowns. We know he can run the ball. He had 59 in week 1, but even last week he only had 3 yards rushing. But man, I'm sure a lot of you football fans out there that follow just the big accounts out there saw that video of him. Like we were talking about that the other day. Like he had a clean pocket. He had at least 1, maybe 2. You could even say 3 receivers open on this play. And one of them was wide open, and it looked like he was looking at him for a touchdown. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Me or you could have maybe completed that.
Yeah,
It's like the pocket was clean. He was wide open, and he just didn't throw it, and he just took off and ran right into the line and got sacked.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of that play kind of epitomizes his season so far.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, it's just not going.
If I remember correctly, that was a seam route.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been like a little post, and then DJ Moore was running an out route. All three were wide open.
Right.
By the way, like all three were wide open, especially the seam route. The seam route.
Yeah, it looked like a busted coverage. No one was in the picture hardly.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been an easy touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a he's been very, very, very disappointing to me. And talk about 0-2 teams. The Bears are 0-2, but I think the most concerning thing for me for like the teams that are like 0-2 is probably the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals are 0-2, and by the way, both losses were to division opponents. They lost to the Browns week 1, then they lost to the Ravens in week 2, and it's one thing to be 0-2 and lose to like non-divisional opponents, but like whenever you start the season off 0-2 in your own division, you're putting yourself in a hole that you gotta climb out of later in the year. And I believe they have one of the more tougher schedules in the league this year too. So we have no idea on the health of Burrow's calf.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the biggest issue.
Yeah,
because if he was fine, I wouldn't bet against them to climb out of the hole. They started 0-2 last year, made the playoffs, but it just feels different. They're not clicking on offense, and like you said, Burrows, he might not even play. They played Monday night against the Rams, that calf issue. It seems like they rushed him back too quick. I was a little skeptical. I thought they might as well hold him out a couple weeks, make sure he's 100%, and it's backfired on him because now they're 0-2. They can't really afford for him not to play, but he's their franchise, so are they just going to have a wasted season?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is their window to win, so
and
a lot of red flags in Cincinnati right now.
And whenever you have a calf injury, that's also straining Achilles too. If you remember in 2019, Kevin Durant, he had a calf strain.
That's a good point.
In the playoffs, he came back like 3 weeks later, down 3-1 in the finals, and he popped his Achilles.
Yeah, in Toronto, I remember that.
So whenever you have a calf injury, if you don't properly rest it, that you could pop your Achilles. And so if he pops his Achilles, season might be down. And I don't trust Zach Taylor as a play caller either.
I was gonna say he's a young coach. It's like the last 2 years have gone good, but I know it's 2 weeks so far, but I don't understand it. I mean, Jamar Chase is arguably one of the most talented players in the league of any position, certainly receiver, and he has been non-existent. I saw he said in the, I guess at practice or maybe it was post game, he said, I want to take, I need the ball more, and I want our offense. We need to take more deep shots.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their bread and butter last year. I don't know why they're not taking them this year. Yeah. O-line still isn't great, but I mean, I don't think it's so bad to the point where they can't do anything. I mean, it's improved. It's improved slightly over 2 years ago for sure when they made the Super Bowl. So. Yeah, T. Higgins finally bounced. He had 2 touchdowns last game, but he had like literally 0 catches week 1.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
0 catches, 8 targets.
Right. I agree. Zach Taylor should be questioned for sure. But yeah, also other teams, the Chargers and Vikings are 2 other 0-2 teams that made the playoffs last season, like the Bengals. I mean, their quarterbacks are healthy. They actually play this week, which is going to be huge. I mean, if you fall 0-3, you think, I don't want to say an elimination game this early in the season, but you can almost say that if you start 0-3. I'd have to look at the statistics, but I know 0-2, you have like a 12% chance, I think, to make the playoffs. If you're 0-3, I would think it's less than 5%.
Yeah, I think the last team to make it while starting 0-3 was the Saints.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I think it was 2017 or 2018. They was like 0-3. And then Drew Brees and MT just got crazy hot, and they finished the year like 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a couple years ago, Deshaun Watson and the Texans, they started the year 1-4, and they ended the year 11-5. So it is possible to go on like this crazy hot streak. But like the odds are definitely
Right.
not in your favor. Those are the exception to the rule,
Right.
not the
And
rule.
you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball and putting a lot of pressure to rattle off wins.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think we got.
Before we head into week 3, yeah, I did win the Lion. I did. I had an 11-5 record this week in terms of predictions. Beat Chase by 1.
Yeah, I went 10-6.
Yeah, he went 10-6.
So we're 1-1 now. I won week 1. He won week 2. It's shaping up to be a competitive season.
Exactly.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Both came down to the wire too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So heading to week 3, do you have any starters and sit-ups?
Let me take a look. See what matchups I like.
I got you.
You go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna kick it off with my starts. So my starts this week, I got I believe Jerome Ford of the Browns versus the Titans. He killed my Steelers. Cause once Chubb went down, I'm like, okay, cool. We should cruise by, but Ford kept him in the game. He broke off a 70-yarder. Unfortunately, it was almost a touchdown. But like he broke off a 70-yarder, and there was this one play. It was like 3rd and 10, or 2nd and 10, and he was like, I kid you not, like 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then he ran for a first down. I was like, dude, can we tackle him?
Right.
So yeah, start Jerome Ford versus the Titans if you don't have him. Obviously, we just talked about him earlier, but if you haven't picked up Puka Nacua, pick him up right now. I have him going off against the Bengals. And then Rashid Shaheed versus of the Saints versus the Packers. Those are my 3 starts.
He's been a sleeper this year.
Exactly.
He's quietly been having 2 really solid weeks.
Yep. So those are my starts for week 3. My sits for this week is I have done a Steeler, Pat Fryermuth versus the Raiders. He's been disappointing this year. Only 2 catches and 5 yards this year.
I dropped him in my 18 league.
Yeah. So if you have Pat on your roster, either drop him or just sit him.
Yeah, bench him. Yeah, for sure.
I feel bad saying this because I was a believer in him. But Justin Fields versus the Chiefs.
Yeah.
One that's a stout opponent. Obviously, the defending champs. They've been amazing. We all know the story. So sit Fields versus the Chiefs. Hopefully, you drafted 2 QBs, man.
Right. Or maybe you got a deep bench and you could trade for a better one.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would sit JSN versus the Panthers. He's been pretty disappointing so far. And I just think it's because there's just too many good receivers on that Seattle squad. Obviously, you have DK and Lockett ahead of him, so he's just not gonna get the targets. Not saying he's like obviously a bad receiver because he's not, but just sit him for the simple fact that just that there's just too many people on that squad that needs to eat. So yeah, I would sit JSN versus Carolina.
I'm looking. One thing I would say, Jerome, I think you could start him as a flex. The Titans do have the number 1 ranked rush defense, though, so I would be a little wary, but I think he'll get enough carries that he'll be productive.
Yeah.
One that I really like, I feel the Chargers, I think he's got the highest over-under. The Chargers-Vikings game should be a shootout. We just mentioned it. Both teams try not to go 0-2. Both teams have really good offenses, average at best defenses, I think we could say for sure. I think Jordan Addison is a sleeper start this week as a flex or maybe wide receiver too if you have injuries. He's had 16 points, I believe, in fantasy back-to-back weeks, scored long touchdowns as well. That Chargers secondary has been really leaky. They're going to have to, as everyone, put so much focus on Justin Jefferson. Addison's getting one-on-ones, and he's winning them. He was a first-round pick for a reason, won Biletnikoff 2 years ago in college. So I would start him with confidence this week. That's my main start. I'm trying to think of any others. I'm not... I have Terry McLaurin. He did score last week and have a good week, but I don't know. He's going to be guarded by Tre'Davious White and the Bills. Not too crazy about him this week. Also, DeAndre Hopkins against Cleveland secondary. They shut down Jamar and T. Higgins in week 1. And then last week, Pickens had a long catch and run, but besides that, Steelers really didn't do that much in the passing game. I would bench him as well. See if I got another good start. I like the Lions against the Falcons. I expect that to be a fantasy-friendly game, high-scoring. But I think this is Jahmyr Gibbs' breakout game. David Montgomery's out.
So you gotta play him.
He should be clear RB1. I think Gibbs goes crazy. I'm gonna say I don't know how cold that is, but I'm gonna say Gibbs has the most fantasy points out of any running back this week. That's gonna be my ice cold take for the week, and I think the Lions get a win at home.
Awesome, sounds good. Do you have any big game predictions or no?
We do our locks and the upsets.
Yeah.
Locks, I would say. Give me Jacksonville over Houston. Houston's 0-2. Now, I will say C.J. Stroud's been pretty impressive. I think he's one for the future. It looks like he's a franchise quarterback. I know it's 2 weeks, but Tank Dell, Nico Collins, they got some young talent, Damian Pierce. They just need more pieces, obviously, but I expect at home, Jacksonville, I think they win that division this year again, make the playoffs, and I think they shake back from that loss to Kansas City. That's going to be my lock for the week. My upset, I'm actually going to go Tennessee. Even though I said bench Hopkins, I think it's going to be kind of a sloppy, low-scoring, real defensive type of game, similar almost to the Saints and the Titans week 1. Give me the Titans. I'm going to say they win 13-10. This might sound crazy, but I expect to be really low-scoring. That's going to be my upset of the week, though. They are 3.5-point dogs on the road. I mean, not a crazy upset, but that was one that I like.
So a couple for me. Big game prediction. I do have Nico Collins going off against the Jags for the second straight week. He was amazing last week. 7 catches for 146. This year, I have him going for over 120 yards again and 2+ touchdowns. I think C.J. Stroud really likes him. I like the chemistry that they have. So that's my big game prediction. As for my lock, I'm going with Miami over Denver. Denver is playing at Miami, and secondly, I think because Tyreek only had 40 yards week 2, something like that. So I'm thinking he'll go back over 100. I think Waddle is also going to have over 100, and look for Tua to have close to 350. So yeah, give me Miami over Denver. Might be a little high scoring, 38-23, something like that. And my upset pick of the week, give me Buffalo Bills losing to the Washington Commanders. The Bills are favored by 6 points.
I could see that happening.
So I'm hoping Sam Howell and taps into that magic he's had the first 2 weeks. So yeah, plus it's in Washington. So yeah, give me the Commanders beating the Buffalo Bills in a 27-24 victory. And my ice cold take of the week, I do have the Chargers falling to 0-3.
Yeah.
But that's not the ice cold take. The ice cold take is that because they fought 0-3, it will lead to the firing of Brandon Staley.
Wow. I really actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are going to win too there at home. Man, that honestly could happen. You're going to look like a genius a week from today if that comes true. But
I hope so.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. My ice cold was the Titans losing. Not too cold. I'm trying to think if I can think of something else. But yeah, my lock, like I said, is Jags over Texans. Now it'll be competitive. I think. I just don't see the Jaguars dropping 2 straight at home. I think Trevor Lawrence and that offense and Calvin really have a true bounce back game. But for my big game prediction, I'm gonna say Jahmyr Gibbs. I think I picked him week 1. It didn't. They wound up winning, but now with Montgomery, I think he goes off. I think he has over 150 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns against the Falcons, and I think the Lions get a win there. See if I could cook up an ice cold one.
Oh yeah, go for it,
man. I kind of like it. I kind of am gonna go with chalk because we're about to have our picks for this week. I'm gonna just go with the Titans over Browns. That's my upset pick. Not the iciest, but one thing I will say though, and this might surprise some people, the Niners, they played tonight against the Giants, Monday Night Football on Prime Video. I'm not gonna be ballsy enough to go with the Giants, But I do think they keep it a lot closer than people think, and I think they cover the spread, which is 10.5 for San Francisco. I think a lot of people, they looked at week 1, they got slaughtered at home against Dallas. I think short week is a little more unpredictable, the Thursday night games.
Yeah,
San Francisco, you could argue they've looked the best team in the league right now, but I think Daniel Jones, now granted the Cardinals are arguably the worst team in the league, they played last week, but I think he picks up somewhat where he left off. Obviously, Niners have a great defense, but I think the Giants put up some points in this one, and it's a game in the fourth quarter, and I think they'll I think that they'll lose in the end maybe, but it'll only be by 1 score. That's what I'm gonna say.
I like that take. I like that take. And so now we have our matchup predictions so far. So
Yes,
we'll just
sir.
go game by game real quick. So you did pick San Fran over Giants?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna go
okay.
San Fran.
Yeah, I'm gonna go San Fran too. I'm gonna go opposite of you. I'm gonna go with Cleveland over Tennessee. Atlanta at Detroit. Give me Detroit. What you
Yeah,
got?
I like Detroit too.
All right. New Orleans and Green Bay. I'm gonna go with the Saints.
You know, it's funny. It pains me
Yeah.
to say this. I'm a Saints fan. I actually do think the Packers are going to beat us in a really close game. in
That's fair
Lambeau.
take. Yeah.
I
Packers.
hope who that. Obviously, I hope we win, but I have a feeling we're going to have our first loss of the season.
That's
But
fair.
it should be a really close game, regardless.
Obviously, I got Miami. That's my lock of the week.
Yeah, I got Miami too.
And I also have Minnesota clearly. Since I got
You're right. I got Minnesota too in that one.
New England at the Jets.
That's a tough one,
yeah,
man.
that
I
is.
kept tossing back and forth between that. Jets are at home,
That's
but
gonna be real ugly.
Zach Wilson has not looked great. I'm gonna go the Patriots in that one. I think Mac Jones. He's been playing better than you'd think. New coordinator Bill O'Brien. I think they pull out a close one, but I mean that's almost a toss up.
Yeah. So last time I picked the Jets, but they lost by 20. And so I'm going with New England. One, young quarterbacks, they seem to always struggle against a Bill Belichick defense.
Right.
And secondly, is Zach Wilson. So
it's Zach Wilson.
It's Zach Wilson.
No.
So yeah, I'm going with New England. My upset, obviously, I'm going with Washington over Buffalo.
I'm gonna go Buffalo with that one.
I'm gonna go opposite of you for the for your lot. Give me Houston over Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Jacksonville. Obviously, is my lot.
Indy at Baltimore. Give me Baltimore.
Yeah.
If Richardson was healthy, I might have been more inclined to pick Indy.
Right.
But he might miss week 3.
Yeah.
So give me Baltimore.
Yeah, I got Baltimore too. They moved to 3-0.
Yeah, Carolina at Seattle. Carolina, not only are just a bad team, but Bryce Young also might
saw
miss.
that today.
So yeah, give me Seattle.
I'll take Seattle too.
I'll be surprised if Carolina scores 10 points on Sunday.
We'll see.
Chicago versus Kansas City, that might be the worst game.
I know.
The fact that this is on Fox too, and as the game of the week, that just shows you how much hype Fields had coming into the season. That the NFL thought that this would be the game of the week. So this might be like 40-10. Not gonna lie to you.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this again. I'm going with Chiefs, of course, but I don't. This almost is a hot take because of how awful Fields and the Bears have looked. I think Fields actually might have a decent game. I say he has like an 80-yard touchdown run, and the Bears only lose by 2 possessions.
Only lose by 2 possessions.
They're 12.5-point underdogs on the road.
Yeah.
I'll say they don't get destroyed, but yeah, I mean, you can't. Honestly, I don't think anyone in their right mind could pick the Bears to beat the Chiefs this week. We'll see, but I got the Chiefs as well.
Dallas at Arizona. I don't think Arizona has back-to-back games where they keep it close with playoff contenders.
I got Dallas too.
Yeah.
They did lose, which sucks. I hate to see injuries, especially to anyone, but marquee players. Trayvon Diggs, I believe he tore his ACL in practice today. Lockdown Pro Bowl corner for the Cowboys. Huge blow for them. I mean, their defenses look tremendous. Only giving up 10 points, I think, in 2 games.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Against both New York teams. So that's a huge blow. But, yeah, I think they'll roll over Arizona.
Yep. Pittsburgh at Las Vegas.
That's another – that one and the Jets-Patriots were my 2 toughest picks.
I'm not going to lie. We beat the Raiders last year, and that was with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. This year, Adams is questionable, and they downgraded at QB. Not saying we're gonna blow them out because it's my team. I know my team. We always play down to the competition. So I'm predicting it will be the same case as last year. It comes down to the final possession. I'm obviously picked Pittsburgh. I do think our defense will just overwhelm Jimmy G. And if I'm not mistaken, their receiving core is really not too crazy. So give me Pittsburgh in like a close game. Probably win by like 3 or 4 points. On Monday night, another doubleheader on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Raiders actually for that one.
Raiders.
I think it'll be a close game.
Oh, yeah.
But my hot take, I'm gonna say Matt Canada gets fired. I don't know about this week, but before the season ends.
Yeah.
The OC for the Steelers.
If he does get fired, I'll be surprised because I don't think we've ever fired any head coach in the middle of a season before. So if he does get fired, that's how you know it's really bad. Because like I said, I don't think we've ever done it before. Monday night doubleheader, Philly at Tampa Bay. Is this where the Baker Magic runs out?
I believe so. I think the Eagles will win that one.
I agree.
And then this one's hard. I was gonna go Bengals. It's the last. We got another doubleheader Monday night. Rams at Bengals. Like we said, Puka Nacua has been the story of the league. Rams have been really. Everyone thought they'd be a bottom dweller this year, but they look competitive. They lost to the Niners. But I believe I picked the Niners, but I said it would be a close game. It was. They only lost by a touchdown last week. I forget they won in Seattle. I think week 1. So
yeah,
it's hard. I don't want to. I kind of am attached a little bit to Burrow and Chase. Just living in Louisiana, but man, if he's out, it's kind of tough to go.
Yeah, exactly. Who's their backup?
I think Jake Browner.
Browner?
Yeah, he played college at Washington. I mean, he's just been a backup journeyman. Dang, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
That is so tough.
It's tough.
Honestly. Who you going with?
Yo. I want to pick the Bengals to lose. I really do. Just because it makes things easier in my division.
Right.
But even if Burrow's out, I think Chase and T. Higgins can carry. So I do have I'm gonna go with Cincy again. I'm gonna go with Cincy like a 20 to like 16 type of.
Yeah,
win.
it's gonna be close.
Yeah, 20 to 16.
I could spice it up, but I was kind of hoping you go Rams so we could be different. But I think I'm gonna go.
I could go
too.
Rams because
I think I'm gonna go Bengals too. Nah, go with what you think. I think the Bengals will barely squeak it out.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that was all of our picks. Saints. Maybe, preview for the Saints. Obviously in Lambeau, 2-0 start. Now the critics are saying you only won by a combined 4 points. I understand. Definitely need to clean some things up, specifically offensive line.
To be fair, the Saints were winning. It was 20-9, and did some last-minute stat padding.
Yeah,
you know
the Panthers. Yeah.
So,
O-line needs to clean up, though. Carr had a bad pick.
Yeah, he did.
He's been solid, I'd say, overall through 2 games, but
Chris Olave has definitely been our best player.
Oh, yeah, he's a stud. I've been saying it all since the first podcast, Pro Bowl him this year.
Exactly.
Once Kamara gets back, that'll be huge. Jamal Williams' hamstring injury looks like he's going to be out multiple weeks, so that's a blow. Running back room is so thin. We had Tony Jones, our 4th string off the practice squad, as our only healthy back against the Panthers because Kendry Miller's our 3rd string, the rookie.
Good news is Kamara comes back next week, so.
Yeah. He does. So, or he might. I think is he suspended 4 games?
I thought it was 3.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, you're right. It is only 3. So that's huge, obviously. Last game without Kamara, Kendry Miller. I think might looking like he's gonna play this week. He's been dealing with a hamstring too, which is tough. But defense looks great.
Yeah,
I can see us beating Green Bay. I picked Green Bay, but it should be a close game. If we go to 3-0, the only thing is. Tampa Bay and Atlanta are both 2-0. Yeah. I know it's early. I expect both of them to kind of fade. I still think the Saints will win the division, going 10-7. But yeah.
Yeah, and as for the Steelers, real quick, I'm looking for Pickens. I'm looking for Pickens to have another good game. And last week, 4 catches, 127 yards. That 71-yard house call. Looking for him to have a great game. Also, shout out to Joey Porter as well. He played great defense a couple of days ago. So yeah, I'm just looking for a repeat performance of the defense. I don't know if we're going to get 2 defensive scores like
a
we
tall
did.
order.
Yeah, but I do think T.J. Watt, especially going against Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not as mobile as Watson.
Right.
So Watt might have like a 2 to 3 second type of night. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I just hope Pickett gets it together quickly. This is the game, in my opinion, to really turn the tide. Because the first 2 games of the year, he's been pretty bad. So yeah. I'm looking for him to have a bounce back after 2 straight duds to open the year. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, again, Lions home opener. That's the biggest deal. 6 p.m. against HCU. Come out this Saturday as the Lions look to get their first win of the season. Home opener in conference play. I mean, huge game. Really a must-win, like we talked about earlier. Also, they're honoring the 2003 team, I believe, either before the game or at halftime. They're the first team when Southeastern brought football back from the 15, 20 years or more that it didn't have it. I believe 80s, 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, so show your support. It's a green out, lion up. As for the Lions Den Sports Podcast, I'm Chase Gispert.
Yeah, I'm Troy Allen.
And we'll see y'all next week.